Hey everyone, and take a look at the new nominating contract and match pass players on eFootball. As always, I'll put timestamps in the description for each player and each section. I'll do what I usually do. I'll run through all the 4 stars first, then I'll give you my recommendations out of the 4 stars. Then I'll do likewise for the 5 stars, and then I'll finish up by looking at new match pass players. So let's jump straight into it and look at the 4 stars first. And I don't want to start with a rant already, but the Turkish League is over, so we don't have a Turkish League player of the month. And what do we have instead? Nothing. Oh. So we got the J-League and Brazilian League, but have they added another pack? Of course not. There's so many things they could have done, so many leagues they could have used. They could have done Thai-League player of the season, they could have done player of the month from a bunch of seasons. They could have done all kinds of things for another pack with some 4 stars in it. But no, they just take it away. The choices are already minimal, but let's just give us even less choice. Awesome, thanks for that. But yeah, we've got a couple of packs at least with some 4 stars in. Let's start with the J-League pack. All 6 of these guys are 4 stars. And we'll start by taking a look at Ichimi. So this is the first time we've had a feature version of Ichimi. Plays for Okayama, who've been promoted for this season, doing right in their first season in J1. This guy's got a face scan, just about every Japanese player does. And what they've done from his GP card, they've mainly boosted his passing and most of the right column. That's about it, really. Awareness and finishing aren't looking too great. I know it's a 4-star card, but 82 for awareness and finishing is still, frankly, bad. Not great on the ball. Passing's alright. Not the quickest. Is he great in the air? Not particularly. This guy's looking very meh. They have had a bunch of skills added here. They've added, looks like, long range curler, acrobatic finishing, penalty specialist, yay, and fighting spirit. It's got aerial superiority, so acrobatic finishing and aerial superiority. No heading though. Heading 80, jumping 81, physical 85, 182 centimeters. So it'll be okay in the air, but it won't be brilliant. And as I mentioned, not got great pace, not got much balance. He's not great on the ball. And the awareness and finishing aren't great. He does have first time shot, long range curler. He's got some decent skills and there's a few reasonable attributes, but on the whole, is this a particularly good striker? No. Even on my Japan account, where I don't have many, good, highlight or player of the month strikers yet, I don't think I'll be using a 4-star contract on this guy. He just doesn't look particularly great to me. If you are, if you do get to do the J-League challenge and you don't have much of a squad yet, got a lot of 4 stars to use, and for sure he could do a job for you, but there are GP cards from the J-League who could do a job for you, and you won't have to use a 4-star contract on them. So is he terrible? No, but I really don't think this guy's great. There's just nothing particularly good about him. He's kind of okay in a few areas, but in some of the most important areas, primarily the awareness and finishing, he's just really lacking for me. So this isn't a great card in my opinion. And next we have Samuel Gustafson from Arawa Reds. So got a face scan. He's an anchorman, defensive midfielder. His weak foot accuracy has been increased. We've actually had a previous highlight version of Gustafson. That version was comfortably better as a centre midfielder. If you train it as a defensive midfielder, fairly similar to this one. It had the box-to-box playing style though, very different to anchorman, albeit you can put the defensive instruction on it. And it had less skills than this one. He's had a pretty nice boost pretty much everywhere really, except they've not put much on his passing or his defending. So yeah, it's not looking brilliant to me, to be honest. On the ball, not great. Passing, not great. Defensively, yeah, reasonably strong for a 4-star. On the right, he's not the quickest. Balance is pretty horrible. Physical strength certainly could be worse. It's not amazing, no. Unwavering form, there are not many unwavering form players in the J-League. That is a big positive. And then we look at the skills. So skill-wise, it looks like all the skills are new. According to eFootball Hub, he doesn't have any skills in his GP card. So all these are new. That's great. So not all particularly useful skills on a midfielder. Heading, meh. First time shot, not on an anchorman really. But through passing, weighted pass, yes. And defensively, interception, blocker, sliding tackle, fighting spirit. So he's got, for the most part, a pretty good section of skills there. But I would like one-touch pass. I would like man marking as well on an anchorman. I do think that's an important skill for an anchorman to have. So 1 and 2 skills missing there. And like I say, the stats aren't too amazing. People who've looked at this guy in eFootball Hub, you may have noticed he's got long legs. A lot of people like that, but it's not much use having long legs if you're not very good at football. And as brutally harsh as it may sound, he's not particularly comfortable on the ball. His passing won't be brilliant. Yes, he's got through passing, but he's not got one-touch pass. 82 low pass is not amazing. He's not looking particularly great down the left. Defensively, yeah, he does look alright. He's got interception and blocker, but he is lacking man marking, which I do think is important, like I say, on an anchorman. And down the right there, he's kind of just about okay everywhere, really. If you, for an anchorman, you can live without too much pace. You can live without having, a great deal of balance. But nothing's particularly great there. Nothing's really particularly great anyway. It's just kind of kind of decent. If you really want an anchor man for your J-League squad, then he could do a job for you for sure. I don't think this is a terrible card, but I don't see anything particularly good about it. I think it's just the profile is a fairly strong one, you know, an anchor man with long legs, some decent skills and everything, but without being a bit better on the ball, without having slightly better passing, maybe there's a little bit more down the right column and 1 or 2 skills that he's lacking. I couldn't really say it's a particularly great card, really, in my opinion, but like I say, there are a few things to be said for him. He does have a good overall profile and unwavering form as well, so he could do a job for you in that J-League challenge, but like I say, for me personally, for a 4-star contract, I'm not sure it'd be particularly great value, really. And next up, we've got Kim Tae-Hyeon, who's at Kashmir Antlers. He's been filling in lately for Sakagaro, got injured. He's been doing well. He's a build-up centre-back. Got a face scan, of course. Only standard form, he's a lefty. I didn't realise he was a lefty. I've seen him play, I didn't realise he was a lefty. Maybe they got that wrong, or maybe I just didn't notice. But yeah, build up, decent size. Jumping's not amazing at 81. He's got aerial superiority. Got most of the important skills, and not all of them though. He's lacking, what's he lacking? Acrobatic clearance, sliding tackle, fighting spirit, heading. I think those 4 skills, he's got most of the important ones. But yeah, there are a few defensive skills lacking there, but through passing and weighted pass, especially through passing, that must be a new one. Just checking now. Yeah, it looks like, I think all these skills are new. I don't know if he's got aerial superiority, because eFootball Hub's a bit funny about aerial superiority lately, but most or all of those skills are new. So he's got some good skills there defensively, not all of them, but he does have a couple of nice passing skills, especially through passing, a nice bonus on the centre-back, albeit low pass 61 is horrendous. So yeah. Yeah, on the whole, for a 4-star contract, decent enough this guy. We've had a previous highlight card of him, around about the same level of ability overall, but that one didn't have any skills and the stats were shuffled around a little bit. And the boost he's had from his GP card, surprisingly enough, is mainly on pace, stamina and passing, which is pretty much what they always do for a trending centre-back, because that's what happens when a centre-back is one of the best players in any given month. They're just not any better at defending, they just get quicker and get more stamina and passing. But yeah, it's a fairly solid centre-back for a 4-star contract, really. It's not really amazing anyway, you know, defensively. He's all right, you know, for a 4-star contract. I don't think you can complain about his defensive attributes. Pace, not the quickest, but he's not disastrously slow either. He's got a bit of physical strength. He's at least in the +3 territory there. Jumping, like I say, is not amazing. He's got aerial. He is about 6'1", 6'2". So he's not going to be bad, and yeah, but he won't be brilliant. Stamina's decent, obviously I boosted that. So yeah, nothing's looking too disastrous there. There's a few skills he's missing. I'd like a few attributes to be a bit higher, but if we had all those things, it'd be a 5-star card. So I think, honestly, for a 4-star contract, it might not be an amazing centre-back, but certainly it's a solid one. He can definitely do a job, and if you get to do the J-League challenge, it could be a pretty handy one for your J-League squad. And next we have Kurokawa from Gamba. We've got an attacking left-back. He's got a face scan, surprisingly enough. Pretty two-footed. Standard form, and not the first time I've had a version of this guy. Always weaker for accuracy, has gone up as well. Interesting. So yeah, that's more is more two-footed than normal. I've had 2 highlight versions of this guy previously, both around about the same level overall. Both of the previous highlights of this guy were fullback finishers. He's an attacking fullback nowadays. That's his regular playing style. Both those highlight cards are a bit, as you expect, with a highlight version of a fullback compared to a kind of trending version of a fullback. The highlight cards, they go a bit heavier on the lower body, the pace and the athleticism, whereas the trending ones, they tend to take points away from them, giving points elsewhere. So that's kind of the kind of difference that you'll find with those. And they've got less skills in this one as well, albeit they're trainable. So pros and cons really, but around about the same in terms of overall ability. In terms of the boost he's had from his GP card, nice boost down the left column, a little bit on his defense. Lost a couple of points off his lower body ones. Like I say, that's what they tend to do on fullbacks. The rest of the right column seems to have had a pretty nice boost. And then skill wise, it looks like all he's got on his GP card is pinpoint crossing and long throw. It looks like everything else is new, so that's very good. We've got a load of new skills on him. So soul control is a nice bonus in the fullback. Long range curler on a left-footed left back who can't play on the right. I'm not sure how useful that is, but as I've mentioned a few times, that could help with free kicks. I guess, are you good at free kicks? Not particularly. Through passing, pinpoint crossing. So going forward, got some good skills defensively. I mean, long throw, yeah, but defensively, interception, acrobatic clearance, fighting spirit. We've not got every skill we'd want in a fullback. On an attacking fullback, I think we've got most of the important ones. He's got pretty decent pace, especially for a 4-star. Could do with a bit more physical strength, but outside of the physical strength, I think that right column's looking pretty good. Down the middle, he's not the best defensively. He's a little bit lacking in a few of these defensive attributes. And down the left, apart from tight possession, I think we're looking okay really on most of these attributes down the left, really, to be fair. So yeah, tight possession a bit iffy. I'd like a few more points on his defending and on his physical strength. Apart from that, though, he's looking pretty solid. I think he's one of these fullbacks where if you like a defensive fullback, you like your fullbacks to really stay back and help the defence. He's probably not going to be your kind of fullback, this guy, but if you like an attacking fullback like I do, you like your fullbacks to get forward and do a bit of everything, contribute to your attack when you're getting forward. I think he could be a very handy one for that J-League challenge. Yes, he's got a few attributes that are a little bit lower than most people would like, but I think on the whole, he could be a pretty handy left back. He can play left midfield, but I don't think he's got enough going forward really to be a left midfield. If you're really desperate, he could certainly do a job. He's got a few decent skills going forward, but for me, this guy's very much an attacking left back. He's a very attacking left back, but I think for a 4-star contract for that J-League challenge, I think he could be a very handy one to pick up. And next we have Inagaki from Nagoya. So face scan, of course, box-to-box centre midfielder. Again, unwavering form. There are not many unwavering players in the J-League, so that's a big positive. He's very two-footed. This guy's having a really good season, actually. There was actually a previous Player of the Month version of Inagaki. Had the Destroyer playing style. It was from ages ago. It's one of those turquoise background ones from like 2.5 years ago, something like that. And it was awful. Nowhere near as good as this one. There's been a highlight version of him. I've got that highlight version of him. Slightly better overall. Mainly better defensively, really. But yeah, overall, just slightly better than this one. I will say that highlight version I've got, it's just a regular one. It's from one of the Showtime packs where you get a bunch of regular highlight cards. I've got it. I've used it quite a lot with my J-League squad, and I like him. He's a good all-rounder. He does a bit of everything. He seems to play a little bit better than his stats. So I can't guarantee you that's going to be the case with this version of him because he's not quite as good, but in my personal experience, like I say, he has been pretty solid, very dependable for me. That's been one of the version of him. That was a Showtime version. I don't have that one, but that one obviously is better than this one. Of course, it's a Showtime card, of course. So yeah, not the best version of Inagaki, but it's a solid one for your J-League squad. There's some qualities here, but a few attributes I'd like to be higher as well. The way they boosted his GP card, apart from his down on the right columns, had a bit of a boost. His attacking awareness and finishing up, he's been scoring goals this season. Heading is up a bit. Set pieces. We've gained a point on low pass. We've lost 2 points on lofted pass. Fair enough. Yeah, that's about it really in terms of the way they boosted him. And like I say, some decent ones, but he's not great on the ball. Attacking and defensive awareness both a bit iffy. His other defensive stats are decent. Passing, I always say, it's borderline. This is a 4-star card, so I can forgive that. I think I can allow 85 depending on what skills he's got. We'll see that in a second. Pace is decent enough for a centre mid. Good kicking power. A bit of a lack of physical contact. My one lacks physical contact, but I get by with him. I seem to get by with him. Balance is a little bit iffy as well. Stamina is fine. They've not boosted that, but I don't think they need to. So yeah, we've got some decent enough attributes, but there's a bunch of attributes I'd like to be a bit higher. But if we look at the skills, we do have through passing. So 85 low pass with through passing. I think that's okay. It would be nice if we had one-touch pass, but we've got through passing. I would say through passing is more important than one-touch pass. We've got blocker, which is a really nice one to have on a midfielder, but we don't have interception. Interception is a very important one. So we've got some good ones, but we're lacking a few as well. What have they added here? They've taken away captaincy, and that is to make room for heading, long range shooting, and first time shots. So like I say, he's been amongst the goals this season. That kind of makes sense. Got a few shooting skills there, and then through passing and load off the pass, you've got a couple of passing skills. You've got blocker, fighting spirit. So you've got some good skills there. A bit of everything. Just like I say, one touch pass and interception would have been two very nice additional ones to have. So what, again, it's another one where there's one or two skills lacking. And there's a bunch of attributes here that I would like to be a bit higher. On a box-to-box centre mid, I mean, on defensive mid, I don't think he's physically strong enough, and I don't think defensively, certainly the awareness is high enough, but as an all-rounder box-to-box centre midfielder, yeah, he's kind of looking okay, but like I say, awareness defensively and attacking, bit on the low side. I'd like him to be a bit more comfortable on the ball. Over on the right there, the strength and balance are a little bit low, and you could do with one or two extra skills, but there are positives. He's got unwavering form, he's very two-footed. And like I say, it's just my personal experience, but I've got a highlight card that's just slightly better than this one, and I have quite liked him. He's been very dependable for me when I've used him in the J-League Challenge. So is this a great card? No. There are positives there, but there are a few weaknesses as well. Some attributes a bit low and one or two skills lacking. So pros and cons. If you're lacking centre mid options for your J-League squad, I feel like he could be a solid one for you if you've got some 4-star contracts to use up. But I can't say it's a particularly exciting looking card to me either. So for some people, it could be a handy one. Not an amazing one though. Next we have another one I've got a highlight card of, or had a highlight card of. So Araki from Sanfrecce Hiroshima. face scan, it destroys centre back. I had a highlight card of this guy. He actually was a pretty solid one in terms of his stats, but he didn't have any skills. So I remember putting a few random skill trainers on him. I ended up getting one touch pass and through passing. And then I ended up getting a Player of the Month version of Araki. So I used the old one as a legacy transfer for my new Joelinton card to give him one touch pass and through passing. So Araki will always have a place in my heart for that. But yeah, there have been a couple of previous versions of Araki, and I've got two of them. This is slightly better than the previous Player of the Month version. Stats are shuffled around a little bit, but it is a slight upgrade if you got that previous one like I have. I've had a couple of highlights that are around a similar level as well, including the one that I've got or had. This one is a little bit better than both of those, and he's got more skills. In terms of the way to boost his stats from his GP card, yep, you guessed it, pace and stamina and passing, although they've also put a few points in his physical contact and jumping as well, so a slightly more exciting boost than most trending centre-backs, but for the most part, just a bog standard trending centre-back boost, really. Skill-wise, looks like all he's got in his GP card is heading, fighting spirit and aerial superiority, I think. So they've added first-time shot, that's really useful. Man marking, search and blocker, sliding tackle. So we're just really lacking acrobatic clearance, to be honest. We've got a good selection of defensive skills there. One thing I'll say with this Araki, I don't know, I seem to remember he's a bit better on the ball normally than this, because he is absolutely horrible on the ball. I know he's just a centre back, he's a destroyer, but honestly, when you get the ball with this guy, don't try and do anything crazy like, you know, controlling the ball. Just press square and just get rid of the ball, because he's not going to be comfortable in possession. His passing's awful as well, so that's one negative with this guy. But defensively, pretty strong for a 4-star. You know, you're going past 90 with 3 of those 4, and you're going to be close to 90 with aggression. He's got some pretty good defensive attributes there. Physical contact's not amazing, but you're at least going +3 with the game plan boost. Jumping, another one where, you know, he's 6'1", he's got aerial superiority, but 83 jumping is not amazing. So is he going to be bad in the air? No, but he's not going to be particularly good either. He'll be okay in the air, but not amazing. Pace is decent enough for a destroyer. Stamina's good. So yeah, and again, unwavering form. I keep saying there's not many J-League players on unwavering form. I'm going to sound like an idiot saying that, because about half this pack do, but it is unusual, unless they've been giving a lot of GP cards unwavering form in the J-League without me realising. You know, the last time I checked, there weren't that many there. So another one where I'd say that's quite unusual. That is a big positive for the J-League, a centre-back with unwavering form. He does tend to get good form as well for Sanfrecce. So yeah, again, in my experience, I did have one. He had like no defensive skills, but that highlight card without any defensive skills actually did all right for me. And the Player of the Month one I've not really used much, because I've had some better centre backs since I picked that one up. But yeah, in my experience, similar to Inagaki, maybe not amazing, but he's been dependable for me. The fact that this one's had a bunch of skills added, and he's got some pretty decent attributes in the whole. I would say, as long as you're mindful of the fact that he's horrific on the ball, defensively strong, physically and aerially okay, pace is decent, stamina's decent, unwavering form, good selection skills. I think for your J-League squad, this guy for a 4-star contract is pretty solid value. That looks like a, you know, maybe not a perfect centre back, maybe not a top one by any means, but for a 4-star, I think he's pretty strong, to be honest. So there's your Japan pack, and now let's go to Brazil, because we've got some 4-stars in the Brazilian League pack. And we're gonna start with this fella. Let's start with Lucas Ferreira. So it's the first time I've had a feature version of Lucas Ferreira. He's only 18. He's not got a face scan yet. Does that look like him at all? I'm not sure. It's a weird photo, but yeah, no face scan yet. I imagine he'll get one. I assume he's some kind of upcoming talent. So whole player, it's the first time I've had a feature version of him, but his GP card is actually a right wing forward and a prolific winger. They made him a right midfielder, giving him the whole player playing style. They've added both right midfield and left midfield. He's a left footer. Not sure where he's going to be best, right or left. We'll have a look at the stats and the skills in a second. Weaker foot usage has gone up by 1. Accuracy hasn't. Is that a good thing? I don't think so. He's had a really nice boost across the board, to be honest, including a nice boost to his defensive ability. What a surprise. I guess that boosts his overall rating by about 1 or something, and makes him look like better value. But I don't know. I'm past caring about the weird boosts they do. But yeah, apart from that, I mean, including that, he's had a pretty nice boost across the board, to be honest. He's got good pace, pretty decent balance, bit of a lack of kicking power on the ball. The ball control and tight possession kind of okay, with the dribbling is good, 90 before your game plan boost. Attacking awareness would like to be a bit higher, but again, we're looking at 4-stars here. It could be worse. But this is the negative. He can't pass, he can't cross, he can't finish. Oh dear. So does he have some skills to boost his own product? No. So there's your big concern with this guy. You've got some qualities. He looks like he should feel pretty decent on the ball, albeit 180 centimeters is not going to be a low center of gravity with this guy. But statistically, he looks like he's going to be pretty nice on the ball, pace and dribbling. Skill wise, though, I mean, you've got soul control. You've got a few skill moves. He's going to be quite one of these players. It's kind of fun to get him on the ball and do a bit of dribbling with him, maybe. But are you going to get a lot of end product out of him? Probably not. That's the problem with him. They have added almost all of these skills. It looks like he's only got Scotch move on his GP card. The rest all new, but yeah, like I said, the problem is they've not added anything for his end product. No passing skills, crossing, no shooting skills. So if you're a manual player, you can probably get away with it. It could be a really nice signing. But if you don't play manual, you're going to have to be very, very careful with this guy. Be careful when you pass it, when you cross it, and when you shoot. Don't ask too much of him because he's going to be lacking, unfortunately. So that's the big negative with this guy. But there are positives, like I say. He's got that pace. He's going to feel pretty nice on the ball. Whole player playing style, active right midfield and left midfield. You can still play him as a right wing forward, just won't have an active playing style. So yeah, pros and cons to this guy. He looks like I say, it depends on what you look for from a winger. If you're really concerned about the end product, then you're probably going to want to look away because he's going to come up short for you. But if you like players who are going to be good in the ball, they've got that pace, the trickery, the skills, then he could be a really fun one to pick up if you're going to play that way. If you like your dribblers, and you're going to be careful enough with the end product. So for some people, it could be a really fun one to pick up. I say if you get that Brazilian League challenge especially. But for other people, yeah, that lack of end product could really kill him, unfortunately. But there are some positives there, and for some people, this could be a pretty fun card for a 4-star contract, to be fair. And next up, we've got a goalie. We've got Tiago Volpi, the penalty-taking goalkeeper who plays for Grêmio these days. Got a face scan, 6'1", unwavering form again. That's a positive. And as I mentioned, he's a penalty taker. So if you want a goalie who's got penalty specialist, happy days. He's also got a low punt and penalty saver. So he's good at both taking and saving penalties. This is not the first time we've had a version of Volpi. We had a Player of the Week version. It was about the same overall. I would say this one's got slightly better goalie stats. He's about the same overall as a Player of the Month card of him from the Mexican League, which was quite a while back now. Stats kind of shuffled around, pretty similar overall. There was a highlight card from a Mexican League pack a while back, which was a bit better overall. But if you look at the goalie stats, they're pretty similar overall, just shuffled around a bit. So a few versions of Volpi. This is around about as good as we've had. The boost they've given is mainly on catching, parrying, and reach. He's looking pretty solid for a 4-star goal. He looks alright. I will say though, if you check on eFootball Hub, his arm coverage is not great. It's just below 170. So 6'1", not great arm coverage. That is a negative. The physical profile is not great. His reach only 85, which is not terrible, but when you combine it with his physical profile not being the best, it is a bit of a concern. Reflexes are great, but parrying okay, catching a bit dodgy, awareness decent enough. Yeah, on the whole, I think this is just one where if you get the Brazilian League and if you've not got that many goalies, it could be a handy option to pick up. He can certainly do a job. I've got a previous version of this guy. I think it's the Player of the Month one. And he's done alright for me when I've used him, to be honest. I used him a couple of times, I think, in the Mexican League challenge. I think it's the Mexican League one that I've got. And I've used him with my Brazil squad as well once or twice. He's done alright for me in those as well. So yeah, I would say on that basis, he looks like he's alright. He could be a handy one to pick up, like I say, but it's just if you've got a use for him, because if you don't rock a Brazil squad, if you don't get the Brazilian League challenge, I would imagine, unless you're pretty new to the game, you've probably got better goalkeeper options. Stats aren't too bad, but they're not amazing. Physical profile is not amazing either. But like I said, the stats aren't too bad. My version's done alright for me. He does have one unwavering form, a few skills, including that penalty specialist, which could be a bit of fun. Troll your opponent, maybe. But yeah, pros and cons with this guy. I think for a 4-star contract, if you can find a use for him, could be a handy one to pick up. Beyond that, not an amazing card. Somebody needs to have a word with Mr. and Mrs. Jhon. Why would you call your son Jhon? That's just cruel. But anyways, no face scan. We've got Jhon Jhon, the whole player. Brazilian League attack midfielder. He can play attacker mid or left mid. First I've had a feature version of him. Weaker for accuracy's up. He is pretty two-footed. That is good. Down the right column, he's had a bit of a boost. Defensively, he's had a bit of a boost. Of course, because he's an attacking midfielder. Why would you not boost him defensively? At least that gets his overall rating up a bit, I guess. Set pieces had a bit of a boost. He's good at set pieces. You're going to hit 90% set piece taken with your maximum boost. That's good. The left column, though, hardly really any change. And they've taken a couple of points away from his on-the-ball attributes. A classic boost to an attacking player. Why would you not make him worse on the ball? Obviously it makes more sense to make him a lot better defensively than normal. I'd give up. I give up. Skill-wise, what they done skill-wise? Looks like all he's got in his GP card is heading, first-time shot, and through passing. We've got a bunch of new skills here. We've got soul control, nice. Long range shooting, first-time shot, one-touch pass, through passing, pinwheel crossing. Okay, so shooting and passing, soul control's a nice one to have. Yeah, got some good skills there, but for a 4-star contract, is this guy going to be any good? Not amazing, sadly. He's got a whole load of attributes that are decent looking. You know, decent pace, kind of okay on the ball. The passing, though, he's got one touch and through, but 83 low pass attacking midfielder, that's a bit on the low side for me. For the Brazilian league challenge, if you really need an attacking mid, he could be an option for you, but that passing for me is a bit too low, even on a 4-star. Left midfield, has he got the pace? Borderline. Is he good enough on the ball? That's a bit low for me. This isn't an amazing looking card to me, to be honest. Good selection skills there, but to what extent do they compensate for some of these attributes being on a bit on the low side? I'm not sure they compensate enough. Like I say, he's not terrible. You know, the attack awareness is decent. He's not too bad on the ball. If you're playing wide left, he's not amazing on the ball, but the passing for wide left is good. Finishing is decent enough. He does have the shooting skills. A little bit of pace about him. Maybe he could be a right wide left there. It's not a terrible card. I just think whether you play him left midfield or attack midfield, I just don't think he's going to be that great in either of those positions. So for your Brazilian league squad, if you get to do that challenge still, could be an option. You know, a decent option to play 2 positions for. He does have good skills. Some of the attributes are decent enough, but there's nothing particularly amazing looking there. So yeah, not a terrible card, but I think even for a 4-star contract, this is another card that to me just doesn't look that exciting, to be honest. Next up, Murilo from Palmeiras. So we do have a face scan. He's got cool hair. He's a destroyer, 6'2", standard form, and on the whole, I think we've got another fairly solid looking centre back really for a 4-star contract. He's looking all right. We actually had a highlight version of him that was given out for free, or at least it was in that pack of one of those packs of 5. I think it was when Palmeiras got their latest kind of partnership. They did a pack of 5. We got 3 free spins on it. So a kind of somewhat free highlight card of Murilo we've had previously. Bit better overall, but this one's got a bit more pace and more skills. Compared to his GP card, they've actually nerfed his defensives a little bit, which is utterly ridiculous. They've taken 2 points of his jumping as well, which I guess they can afford to. It's still pretty good. You're hitting 90 with your game plan boost. And of course, trending centre back, so they boosted his pace and his stamina and his passing. So yeah, a pretty bog standard centre back boost in a player of the month or player of the week pack, except they've also nerfed him defensively. So yeah, I've given up trying to make sense of what they do with these cards, but yeah, there you go. You got a fairly solid 4-star centre back. Skill wise, good additions. We've had interception, blocker, and sliding tackle added. I think those are the 3 that are new. So we've got heading and aerial, and then man mark, interception, blocker, sliding tackle, fighting spirit. So we're lacking acrobatic clearance, but apart from that, I think that's the only real defensive skill we're lacking there. We've been nice to have 1 or 2 passing skills, but its passing's okay for a centre back. Not great on the ball. The defenses are solid. They're not amazing. As a few, like, you know, you're not quite going to hit the 90 mark with a couple of those, but yeah, you're pretty solid there down the middle. The physical and aerial pretty decent. He's 6'2". He's got aerial. Not the quickest, but he could be slower. They have boosted his pace. So yeah, horrible on the ball. Not the quickest. But honestly, on the whole, I think for a 4-star contract, you've got a pretty solid centre back on your hands here. If you're new to the game, you're desperate for centre back options. I think for a 4-star contract, this guy's good value. If you still get to do the Brazilian League Challenge, I think he's a pretty good value for a 4-star contract as well. So yeah, I think this is one of the better 4-stars that we're looking at. It's a solid looking centre back, this. You can also play defensive midfield, but he can't, clearly, because he's absolutely horrific on the ball. So, yeah, very much a centre-back. A few good skills have been added. Annoying they've nerfed his defences, but he's still fairly solid there, especially for a 4-star. And on the whole, yes, he's not the quickest, not great on the ball, but I think for a 4-star contract, that's a pretty solid-looking centre-back card, to be honest. So, out of all the 4-stars, even though there are only, 10 in total, yeah, these are the ones I think I'd recommend. You've got a couple of centre-backs there, Araki, Murilo. There's a few centre-backs, to be honest. They all look fairly solid, but to me, I think Araki and Murilo are my pick, the 2 best of the centre-backs. I think for a 4-star contract, for the J-League Challenge, Araki, for the Brazilian League Challenge, Murilo, both of those I think could be very good value for a 4-star contract, very solid. Even outside those league challenges, I think they could do a job for you, especially if you're quite new to the game. Solid centre-backs, those 2. And then Kurokawa, is he amazing? No. Could he do with a few attributes being a little bit higher? Yeah, definitely. But I think if you like a very attacking fullback, you like your fullbacks to get forward and put crosses in and join in with the attack, I think for a 4-star contract, he's actually not bad value at all. So for me personally, just my opinion, but out of all the 4 stars, those are the 3 that I personally think are going to represent potentially the best value for a 4-star contract. So we move on to the 5 stars now, and we've got a couple in this Brazil pack. So first up, we've got Tomás Pochettino. I believe this is Mauricio Pochettino's son. Someone correct me if I'm wrong on that, but we've got he's got a face scan. Creative playmaker, attacking mid from Fortaleza, from the Brazilian league. He's 180 centimeters tall. He's got standard form, and he's kind of all right. I'll be brutally honest. My first impressions on this guy, when I first looked at him, I thought I was still looking at the 4 stars because this doesn't look like a 5-star to me. He just doesn't look particularly great. Is he great on the ball? No. Has he got great passing? No. Awareness and finishing? Yeah, they're decent. Is the pace good? No, not really. Has he got much else going on down here? Not really. Why is he a 5-star? I don't really see it personally. 93 rated. So he's not a high rated 5-star obviously, but yeah. Not overly impressed by this guy. It's the first time I've had a feature version of him. Skill wise, they've given him long range curler, pinpoint crossing, and interception. So he's already got track back and he's got interception. That's a nice bonus for you if you like track back. Not everyone likes track back. Going forward, long range curler, through passing, weighted pass, pinpoint crossing, good. But it would be nice if we had 1-touch pass. Got a couple of skill moves for you as well there. So he's got a few good skills there. But yeah, again, 85 low pass on a 5-star attacking midfielder. I'd like a bit more. On the ball there, is he great? I mean, he's all right. It's not brilliant though. Your attacking awareness is decent enough. You'll hit the 80 mark with your game plan boost. Finishing could certainly be worse. He's got a long range curler as well. It's not too bad defensively. He's got interception and track back, so you could consider that a nice bonus on attacking mid. Is he good enough defensively to get away with him as a centre midfielder without an active playing style? I would say no. That's up to you. If you're really desperate, depends on what kind of midfield setup you got. You could play him centre mid, but I think he's very much an attacking mid with that creative playmaker playing style. Not the quickest, a little bit of kicking power behind his shots, a little bit of physical strength. Balance isn't too bad, but I'd like that to be higher. It is a bit on the low side actually. So yeah, he's got some decent skills there. I'd like 1-touch pass, maybe soul control, one or two skills I'd like there. And I'd like a bunch of these attributes to be a bit higher. Like I say, to me personally, I'm looking at this card and I'm seeing a 4-star. I'm not looking at a card that's going to be worth a 5-star in my opinion. So yeah, if you get the Brazilian League challenge, if you're lacking attacking midfielders and you've got the 5-star contracts to use up and no one else appeals to you, for sure he could be a useful one for that challenge maybe. But honestly, like I say, that none of these stats are looking particularly impressive to me, and in my opinion, for a 5-star contract, this doesn't look like a particularly good value card really. This guy, on the other hand, might do. So we've got Artur from Botafogo. He has a face scan. He's tiny. So low center of gravity alert. You got a tiny forward. He's normally a winger. They've changed him from a right wing forward with a prolific winger playing style to a centre forward with the goal poacher playing style. Interesting. He can of course still play right wing forward. He can still play right midfield as well. They've also made him semi-proficient at SS, which is really useful on a card you can't position train. But centre forward's a new position as well. That's cool. So you've got Artur, who's a right winger who can now play as a centre forward as well. First time I've had a version of him. They beefed up his speed, his stamina, lost a bit of acceleration and balance. Physical and aerial strength have been boosted. Defensives have been boosted. Of course, that makes perfect sense. They boosted his attacking awareness, his passing and shooting. +3 on ball control, -1 on dribbling. Why? But yeah, on the whole, we're looking fairly solid. There's a bunch of attributes here I would like to be just a tiny bit higher. It'd be nice if you could hit the 90 mark on speed. Likewise on some of those on-the-ball attributes. Maybe he's a little bit more in his passing, but he's got a lot of attributes here that are pretty decent. If we look at the skills, he's very one-footed actually. That might be a bit of a negative, although does he have outside curler? No, he doesn't. Okay, so he's very one-footed. This guy is a lefty. So he's very much an inverted winger unless you play him up front. Skill-wise, what have they added here? Soul control is new. Interesting. That's a nice one to have on a winger. He looks like he's already going to feel pretty nice on the ball. He's short, decent on the ball attributes, bit of pace, bit of balance, and he's got soul control as well now. He's got long range curl. Is that new? No, he's already got that. So soul control is new. Dipping shot, I think, is new. First time shot. Okay, so that helps if you're going to play him up front. Fighting spirit, that helps because he's not the strongest physically, although it looks like that's been boosted a bit. Don't think he's normally got that kind of strength. I've actually got this guy's GP card. I've used his GP card with my Brazil squad a few times. He's done all right. He's nippy. He's neat. So when I saw this guy was in here, I immediately was very interested. And I've got to say, he doesn't look amazing. I think for a 5-star card, like I say, it would be nice if he was maybe hitting the 90 mark on a bunch more attributes, but he's close enough. And I think this guy is pretty decent. He could be an interesting option for a 5-star. I think the obvious question is, where are you going to play him? Is he good enough as a striker? 84 awareness, 83 finishing. I always say it, for me personally, those are on the low side for me. Yes, he's great elsewhere for a centre forward with the passing, on the ball, decent pace. He's got a lot of qualities for a striker outside of those 2 important attributes. So if you don't mind those 2 attributes being a bit on the low side as a centre forward, a small, nimble one, it could be very interesting. For me personally, I don't like the awareness and finishing being that low. So I'm looking at him still being a right winger. He won't have an active playing style on the right wing either as a forward or as a midfielder. But he's got a bit of pace about him. He's got a little bit of balance. He's decent on the ball, even if he's not amazing. The awareness and the finishing are suddenly pretty good for a wide man. Passing, not brilliant. Be careful with his passing. He's got through passing though. He's got pinpoint crossing. So yeah, he's got a bit of end product with his passing and crossing, but don't ask too much of him. Now, he is a bit on the low side with those 2 attributes. But yeah, as an inverted winger, cutting aside, primarily trying to get shots away with this guy, trying to score goals rather than create goals. I think it could be pretty handy. I think the one thing that makes this guy look, that really kind of seals the deal with this guy and makes me think he could be good value for 5-stars, is the fact that he's short. He's got that low centre of gravity, and like I say, I've got his GP card, which is clearly not as good as this version of him, and it does feel pretty neat to me. So yeah. On that basis, and looking at the stats, look at the skills, is he amazing? You know, like I say, there are a bunch of attributes: the speed, the kicking power, the on-the-ball attributes. I'd just like 1 or 2 more points on a bunch of these attributes, but he's close enough. I think for a 5-star contract, if you got the Brazilian League Challenge, this guy could be a very handy one to pick up. Fine on the ball, could be handy off that right wing. Could use him as a striker at a stretch. Even if you don't get the Brazilian League Challenge, I think it could be a fun one for your 5-star contract. You know, he's got a pretty good selection of skills there. The physical profile with that low centre of gravity and some pretty decent attributes. It's not an elite card by any means, but I think for a 5-star contract, it could be a fun one. So not going to be for everyone necessarily. And there are, like I say, there are a few attributes I'd like to be a little bit higher, but I think all things considered, for a 5-star contract, you could certainly do worse. And it could be a fun one, this guy. So that's all the trending 5-stars. And now it's time for 30th anniversary elites. So we got a whopping 6 cards in here. They really do spoil us for choice. I looked at this briefly on stream the other night, and I kind of went up on a bit of a rant saying it was just a really random, pointless selection. But I didn't realise, because obviously I didn't notice the fact there's these gigantic, brightly coloured numbers in the middle of the card design saying 1995. All these players were born in 1995, and that's the year that ISS came out. So it's actually a pretty clever theme they've got. And if you noticed as well, in the big time pack, from which some people are going to get a big time, but the rest of us apparently don't deserve one. There are highlights in here, and all these highlights are born in 1995 as well, if you didn't notice that. So yeah, that's pretty interesting, but I just pressed the wrong button. Where am I? Yeah, there we go. So back to this pack with these nominating contracts. So yeah, all these players born in 1995. These are the 6 they've chosen to go in here. So let's look at these guys, and let's start with, well, who are we on now? Zambo Anguissa, yeah. So we'll start with Frank Zambo Anguissa from Napoli. So we've had a bunch of versions of Zambo Anguissa. We've had a few Player of the Week cards. One was a destroyer, the rest box to boxes. All fairly similar, to be honest. The passing on this one, when you auto-allocate him, is better though than any of those, but the stats are all kind of shuffled around. We'll look at stats in a minute on the hub. He's got a face scan, of course. They need to update his hair because he's had much longer hair for about 2 or 3 years now. Come on, Konami. But yeah, I've had a highlight card from Play to Win pack as well, some kind of Legend or Showtime pack. That was a bit better than this one. Not a massive difference though. Apart from that, there's been a bunch of other highlight cards around about the same level. Stats shuffled around a bit here and there, so it's a solid version of Zambo Anguissa, this. There's one of the recent national team pack, kind of rest of the world, worldwide national player pack, whatever it's called. Very similar. That one had more physical contact than this one, and tight possession, but this one's got more low pass. So yeah, pretty solid version of Zambo Anguissa, this, but there have been other versions around about the same level. Skill wise, nothing's changed. I've not changed the profile on any of the players in this pack. So we've got a pretty decent selection of skills to start with, but we do need some new ones. You're going to need to give this guy through passing, and I personally would give him man marking and blocker as well. Those are the skills I'll give him first. Maybe his outside curler, yeah, outside curler would be a good one as well. So yeah, through passing, man like and blocker, outside curler. He's got some good ones to start off with. But let's jump over to the hub there. Let's get him trained up, and let's see how good he actually is. So, how good are you, Mr. Anguissa? He's actually, I've just been training him. We'll go to auto allocation first. So, yeah, he's decent. This is another one where I've got a version of him. It's quite an old version now. It must be a couple of years old now. It's from a Napoli pack. Yeah, my version is the Destroyer. He's a box-to-box these days. So some of those previous versions of him are Destroyer. I prefer him as a Destroyer. He's physically strong. He's defensively quite strong, and he's been very decent for me as in my kind of double pivot in my Italian league squad. But obviously these days I've got Davids and Pirlo, so he doesn't really get a game anymore. But he has always been very decent for me. I do like him, and if he's got form, he gets on my bench sometimes. Comes off the bench, he still does alright for me. This version is not too dissimilar, to be honest. The passing does look better than my one. He's had a fairly mixed boost from his GP card. The biggest boost he's had is on his dribbling, his acceleration, and his defensive awareness and engagement. So yeah, pretty solid. Where he's lacking is much like my version of him. His attacking awareness is not great. His balance isn't great. But apart from that, as an all-rounder, as a box-to-box, he's looking decent now. He's got a decent physical profile. He's not massive, but he's I don't know what it is. If it's just some weird placebo, but it feels like he's a big, strong dude when he's on the pitch. But when you look at the numbers, he's only 6 foot tall. He's not got amazing physical strength, but he kind of feels like he's quite. I don't know. Maybe mine's got stronger physical contact. I think maybe he does actually, because I just noticed they put 0 on his aerial strength. I think mine one's got like high 80s physical contact, But yeah, he's a good all-rounder. He's got a bit of everything. Just like I say, the attacking awareness is a bit low, the balance is a bit low. Let's do a couple of builds on him. Let's start with a DMF build. What does it tell us as a defensive midfielder? Not bad at all, actually. Not bad at all. So not great on the ball. Passing's all right. Like I say, I would really strongly recommend you put through passing on him. Defensively, pretty strong. Good speed, actually. I didn't realise he had that much speed, Anguissa. Don't think mine's got that much speed. Physical strength has gone up to 86. Balance is still pretty bad, but you can live with that. He's a big physically strong guy. Defensively strong, I think you can live with his balance being a bit low. Stamina's pretty much on the mark at 90. Yeah, not bad actually for a DMF. As I always say, box to box, that playing style is active with DMF. He'll still get up and down the pitch. So if you wanted to play as a real defensive midfielder, you want to put the defensive instruction on him. As you would have seen from one of my recent videos, that does work. I did a video with some tactical kind of analysis and stuff. So yeah, you can use him as a kind of anchor man or destroyer if you want to with that defensive instruction. As a centre midfielder or as a kind of all-rounder in some kind of double pivot, if you want him to use him, want him to have a bit of everything. We'll go back to the auto allocation. I think you could afford to nick a couple of passing there. He's going to be more of a centre midfielder. You do need a bit more attacking awareness, so I'm going to go straight up to dexterity there. What else could we do here? Not a lot, really. I wouldn't want to take any from defending. Maybe you could nick a couple of passing. You'd probably get away with that. Nudges defensive awareness up to 80. Or left. I would put 4 in aerial, actually. He's not got great balance. Just give him some physical strength. That will help him when he's in physical tussles. Yeah, I think I'll do something along those lines. I think the build I've got on mine is fairly similar. I think I've got maybe a little bit less on the ball. But I think the balance of the on-the-ball attributes is different on mine. And I've maybe got a little bit more in defending. But this isn't a million miles away from the build on mine. Like I say, in my experience, I really enjoyed using mine. It's an old card. I've not kept that many of my older cards. They tend to get outdated, obviously, after a while, cards in this game. But he's still pretty decent, my one. So on the basis of mine being decent, I think this one could be a side one as well. I think if you want another midfield option for your Italian league squad, could well be a handy one. Bit of an all-rounder. As you saw just now, you can train to be a DMF with or without that defensive instruction. As a defensive midfielder, I think he could be a very capable one. But as an all-rounder centre midfielder, yes, the attacking awareness is a bit poor. You can do it with a bit more balance. But as an all-rounder, is he amazing? No. Has he got the skills he needs? No. You need to give him a few skills. But certainly, I think he's a solid one. Like I say, if he's got a kind of profile you like, bit of physical strength, a bit of everything in the middle of the park, or if you want him as a defensive midfielder, I think there are qualities there. And in my experience, he's been a good one. I like my one. So yeah, it's not an amazing card, not a top level one, but you can use him in the Italian League Challenge. I assume he's not got a thingy there. Let's actually go back to the game and double check that, because they do weird things with the club affiliation. They did that with Kang, didn't they, in that international pack? But yeah, he's got his club affiliation, so you can use him in the Italian League Challenge. And he's a solid one. Does need skills. The attributes aren't too amazing, but could be a solid option for the Italian League Challenge. So yeah, not an amazing one, but it could well be a useful one to pick up for you. Right, who's next? Giménez is next. So, another one who I've got an existing version of. So, Giménez, I've had a bunch of highlight versions of him. No trending cards, but we've had a bunch of highlights. A couple of them go slightly higher with their overall rating, including a nominating contract, what is it called? Club Icons version. That's the one that I've got. And there's another old one from some kind of, I think it's a 22-23 Player of the Season pack. There's a highlight card of him from that pack, from the Spanish League. The stats are kind of shuffled around a little bit. Those two that are slightly higher rated have a bit less speed and a bit less stamina, although they've got a bit more on their defending, their physical contact and jumping. So pros and cons, I would say roughly the same overall, though, to be honest. This is a good solid version of Giménez. They've given him a big boost on his speed and they put a few on his acceleration and his stamina. Not much else going on with his boost really, and they've also taken 2 points off his lofted pass, taken 3 points off his jumping and 1 off his physical contact. They've done similar with a few centre-backs recently, and it really annoys me. Like, why would you make him worse at anything? It might not be a trending card. It might not be based on an outstanding performance. But why would you make him worse? The whole point of these cards is that you're trying to sell them in some way. It just seems just really weird to me. But anyway, unwavering form. You can use him in a Spanish League challenge. Again, they've not changed anything in terms of his profile, the playing style, the skills and everything. So we've got heading and aerial, and then man marking, insertion, blocker, sliding, acrobatic, fighting speed. That's pretty much the complete set of defensive skills. Got a face scan, of course. That's a bit out of date these days. Like a lot of face scans in the game. But yeah, the overall profile here: destroy a centre back, unwavering form, can play him in a Spanish League challenge, good set of skills. Looking pretty good, but how good is he? Let's find out. Let's jump over to eFootball Hub. How good are you, Mr. Giménez? Pretty decent. So yeah, this reminds me very much of when I looked at the club icon one that I picked up. Defensively, he is a beast. And he's got a boost on his speed, so he's got decent pace as well this time. Jumping up to 90, fully boosted. Physical contact 89. Yeah, this is a solid centre-back. What more do you need to say? This is a good card, this. My one's been really dependable for me. I've mentioned it a few times. I've got quite a few decent centre-backs for the Spanish League challenge, but they're all destroyers. I mean, almost all of them. I've got PK now, but yeah, most of my centre-backs for the Spanish League challenge are destroyers. So for that's the only reason I've not used him more often, because I don't like having 2 destroyers at centre-back. I don't like even 1, to be honest, but as long as I've got at least 1 build-up, I'm happy enough. But yeah, this guy, if you like the destroyer playing style, that works for you. In my experience, he's been really good, and this is a good solid version of him. If you're going to leave him the way he is, I think he'll be absolutely fine. He's a defensive beast, the pace is fine, aerial and physical strength are fine. He's not going to be a monster in the air, 185 centimetres, so he's only 6'1". And I think, as you're going to see here, yeah, jumping height 273. That might not be bad, but it's not particularly good either, so he's going to be okay in the air. Shall we do a bit of a shuffle of some points here, making him a bit stronger in the air? Yes. Let's just do that. Well, there's one way of doing it. Does that give him a big boost there really? Not really, but it does make him a bit stronger in the air. Is there anything more you can do than that? Not really. I mean, you can nick 1 off lower body, 2 on goalkeeper 1. Yeah, you could well do that, to be honest. 270. Okay, so 277.2. That is quite a boost. So if you really wanted to make this guy stronger in the air, that could well be worth doing. It's still 90 plus all your core defensives there. Still got a very decent pace. Certainly the speed for a centre back. Jumping up to 96, physical 93, heading 92, still decent stamina there, decent enough anyway. So yeah, you want to be better in the air, that could well be a very good build. You get him up to 277.2 for his vertical reach. What was it originally? 273.2. So yeah, not a massive increase, but an increase is an increase. So yeah, you could do that for a build. Is there anything else you could do with the build? What else would you want to boost on him? You've got to get the physical contact to 90, haven't you? Oh, the heading's got to go to 90 as well, damn it. 6 points. There's not a lot you can do really, is there? It's not a lot of difference. Yeah, I think really something along the lines of the auto allocation now. I mean, I do think it's worth at least nicking 1 off defending, get his physical to 90, but yeah, whatever you do with the build, if you go for more aerial ability or you leave him somewhere like that around the kind of auto allocation build. Like I say, from personal experience, very solid centre-back. He's been very dependable for me. There's no real glowing weakness with this guy. He's not great on the ball, but he's a destroyer. You know what you're going to expect from him. He just wants to defend, and he's good at defending. You don't really need any skills on him. He's got unwavering form, good option for the Spanish League challenge. Yeah, there have been some very good centre-backs in the game in recent times, but this is a very solid one for a 5-star nominating contract. I think this guy is pretty solid value, to be honest. Next we have the big man, Alexander Sørloth. got a face scan, got the target man playing style, which I don't personally like. I always say that. It's just personal preference, though. He is gigantic. He's got unwavering form these days. He's not always had that. He's left-footed. Another one's got you can use in the Spanish League Challenge. Skill-wise, again, they've not changed anything. So heading, acrobatic, and aerial, as you expect. Super sub. I don't think he's always had super sub. First line shot, this guy's got a really good section of skills with his shooting and his heading, and he's a super sub. As a super sub, this guy could be naughty. He's usually a menace in the air. I had a bunch of versions of him. Let's go to eFootball Hub before we start talking about that. Where is eFootball Hub? It's right there. So yeah, we had a bunch of versions of this guy. Different playing styles as well. I've had a bunch of Player of the Week versions of him. Goal Poacher, Fox in the Box, Target Man. There's a Target Man and a Fox in the Box that have boosters. And when they're on A form, they are a bit better than this one. Apart from that, those two and one or two other ones are pretty similar to this one in terms of overall ability. Like I say, they're different playing styles. In terms of highlight cards, obviously Showtime cards are the best version. There's one from a Norway pack. Recently is a bit better. Not least because his jumping's better. And that is important on a target man, of course. I had a couple of Goal Poacher versions that are fairly similar overall. Not a massive difference, but the playing style is a massive difference in itself, though, obviously. And from his GP guys, had a fairly mixed boost. Nothing really stands out, but one slight disappointment. They put 0 points on his heading and jumping. That's just really mean. Why would you give us a boosted version of Sørloth which doesn't have any boost on his heading or jumping? Come on, that's just, I mean, that's just stingy. So yeah, the jumping is a bit of a letdown. You look at the aerial height there, 276, that's certainly good, but it could be better. When you've got a guy who's as tall as Sørloth is, you put him in a pack like this, target man playing style. I guess it's not a coin pack, so they obviously don't want to make him too good. If it was a coin pack, I imagine you probably have like 90 jumping, but no. This is for the free-to-play players, so you can't make him good at what he needs to be good at, can you? Of course not. But yeah, on the whole, what we got here, we've basically got a target man who's pretty good at what he needs to be good at, but not amazing. The awareness is great. He's not always a good attacking awareness. They must have boosted that on his GP card at some point, because I've got an old feature version where his attacking awareness fully boosted is like 84 or something. He has to really scrimp a bunch of points from elsewhere to get his attacking awareness up, but 92 for Sørloth, that's higher than it usually is. Balance is horrible, as you expect from a gigantic guy, a target man. Pace is surprisingly good for a big tall guy. It often is with Sørloth. And again, for a big physical clunky guy, as you expect, he's not great on the ball. His passing is horrible as well. Finishing at 88 is alright. I'd like a bit more on there. But this guy's a target man, and as you saw again from that video I did just recently, there's not much you can do with the target man to make him, make a lot more attacking runs. That's what I don't like about target man. They just kind of stand around. They will make runs forward, but just not as much as I would like. They're just not as mobile as I would like them to be. So for a target man, what they want is they want you to feed the ball into them, either into their feet with their back to goal, or they want you to lob long balls forward to them or put crosses on their head. So you need a target man to be dominant in the air, and you need him to be able to control the ball if you're going to play the ball into his feet, and to be able to hold the ball up and kind of, bring other players into play. And unfortunately with Sørloth, the latter is definitely not his strength. He's not great on the ball. He can't pass the ball, but putting the ball in his head, generally speaking, he is good. But like I say, it's just a shame they've not boosted his jumping or his heading at all. His heading is decent at 86, but his jumping at 80, yes, he's tall, he's got aerial, and he is going to be decent in the air, but it's just a shame he's not a bit better, really. So for sure, this is a good, solid version of Sørloth, but it's certainly not the most exciting one. But yeah, let's do a couple of builds on him. Let's do a build. Let's see if we can do a build where he's a bit better in the build-up. He can hold the ball up a bit. So straight away, we can get him a lot more confident on the ball there. A bit more in his passing. I don't think there's a lot more you can do. I mean, you don't really need speed on a target man, do you? Where do we put those points? Passing. Yeah, I mean, you look at him there. He doesn't do too great, but he doesn't do too bad either. Obviously, we lost a bit of pace. We lost a bit of his attack awareness there, but he is more comfortable on the ball now. If you do feed the ball into his feet, he'll be a lot more capable. It's not necessarily a build that I would recommend that strongly, but if you do play passes into feet to your striker, then that could well be a build where you could get more out of him. But if you want to do a build, this is probably the build that people are most interested in. If you want to do a build for cross spam, then forget about passing. Don't worry about on the ball. You could take everything off his on the ball attributes. Let's just make him an absolute monster in the air, shall we? Yes, let's. Okay, so that's easy enough. Just do that, I guess. Oh, the jumping's 89. Right, I need a point. We'll take it from there. Goalkeeper one. Help. Yes. There we go. Jumping height 283.4. Hello. So we're in business now. Jumping at 90. Physical contact 98. He's going to be an absolute bully. Heading 95. So there you go. The awareness and finishing might be brilliant, but they're okay at 88. You can get away with that. He's absolutely horrific on the ball, but that doesn't matter because you're just going to be spamming crosses to him, and he's not the quickest either. But what matters with this build is he's going to be really strong in the air. So, like I say, not strong in the air as other versions of Sørloth have been. It's a bit of a shame they've not boosted his heading or jumping at all. Really stingy, but of course, it's for free-to-play players. These nominating contracts, they can't make these cards good, can they? But yeah, you can make him pretty good in the air though. So yeah, for a target man, if you're going to just launch loads of crosses into him, a build like that vertical reach, the skills he's got, it could be absolutely menacing, especially as a super sub, or if you go with the auto allocation, or if you try and make him a bit better on the ball like I did, that could work for you as well. But yeah, like I say, for a target man, you can make him pretty effective. I feel like they've held him back a bit because it's a free-to-play card, which is a bit frustrating, so it's not the best version of Sørloth. If you don't have a good version of him, if you like a big, tall, physical target man, he could well be a very decent one for you to pick up. And next up we have João Palhinha, who plays for a fake team with a weird badge. So Bayern are not licensed anymore. You're not going to get to use this guy in league challenges. You're only going to be able to use him really if you're using him in the unlimited challenge or with your Portugal squad. So that's a big shame. I feel like that's a pretty poor choice to put a player in a nominating contract out when they've not got a club affiliation. Real shame. Poor choice in my opinion, but whatever. Got a face scan. Got unwavering form. Again, no changes to the skills. Long range curler, long range shooting. One touch pass, he could do it through passing and defensively man marking interception. He's got aerial superiority. Don't always get that on defensive mids. Slide and tackle, campsy fighting spirit. Through passing and blocker, the only two I think he really needs. Maybe outside curler, but I think the two important ones, through passing and blocker. But he's got quite a few very useful skills there. But let's go over to the eFootball Hub. We'll train him up and we'll have a look at what other versions we've had of him. So over to the hub, we'll train him up, and mixed bag. So there are some qualities of this guy for sure. You look down the middle there, you know, defensively this guy is strong. He's got physical strength as well. He's got good stamina, but there's a concern with him as well, and it's one of these ones where it just depends on where your priorities lie, because some people don't really mind this, but he is horrible on the ball. This guy's a midfielder, and his passing is really not great, so even more important now that you're going to give him through passing. So yeah, that's what you tend to find with Palhinha. I had a previous version from a Premier League pack, but he was just so bad on the ball that I released him. He was terrible for me. We've had loads of highlight versions of Palhinha actually up to this point. There are a couple that go slightly higher rated than this one. All kind of had points shuffled around a bit. There's one or two that got better passing than this one, for example. Just notice his balance as well. 59 balance fully boosted. Good grief. He's got a few weaknesses, this guy, but yeah, it's a solid version of him. He's had a big boost to his pace. He's had a decent boost to his defensive engagement. Apart from that, a couple on his low passing, one on lofted passing, one on kicking power, and that's it. Nothing else has been boosted. So yeah, that's an odd one. They've not boosted a lot, but certainly he's quicker than he normally is. But yeah, like I say, the one concern with this guy, he's a defensive midfielder, so defensively great. Down the right hand side, mostly great, just an absolutely horrendous balance. But the concern for me is that he's absolutely awful on the ball, and he can't pass to save his life. I mean, I guess his passing could be worse, but this guy's a midfielder. You know, there are a lot of people, and I'm not having a dig at anyone here, because this is entirely down to preference. You know, a lot of people like their defensive bids and their fullbacks to just be good at defending, and they seem to be able to get by with having poor on the ball attributes and passing. If that's the case, you can get by with that. Good luck to you. That's fine. I'm happy for you, because like what works for you doesn't necessarily work for me. What works for me doesn't necessarily work for you. That's the thing with this game. That's always my thing with this game, is I'm never going to tell you what's the right thing to do or the wrong thing to do. What works for you is what works for you. That's the best thing to do. So what works for me is that I would need a lot more points down that left column. But if what works for you is the other areas, and you don't personally need those attributes to be higher, then great. This guy could be very effective. He's defensively really strong. Apart from the balance down that right column is strong. As a destroyer, yes, he needs maybe one or two skills. We could be very effective as a defensive mid. But if you're like me, you like your midfielders to be a bit better on the ball. You know, this guy's not a goalkeeper. He's a midfielder. You got to be able to control the ball and pass the ball. So that's my thing personally, and I just look at that and I just think, yeah, it's the same as that previous Palhinha that I had from a Premier League pack, and he was absolutely horrible. So not looking too good to me. Can he free up the points to make him better there? I mean, you're going to have to scrimp a bunch of points for his defending ability. Be a bit of a shame. How much better can you make him over here? You can make him a bit better. Got 1 point left. Where's that going to go? Let's get him all the way out to 60 for balance. Yeah. You can make him a bit better on the left, and he's still pretty decent defensively, to be fair, and physically strong. So I do think he's actually not bad, this guy. But like I say, he's very good in certain areas. He's just not great in others. The attack awareness is horrible. Balance is horrible. Yes, you can make him half decent down the left-hand side, but that still concerns me. So if you don't really bother about those attributes down the left-hand side, to be honest, I would just stick with the auto allocation. He's a defensive beast. He's physically strong. Sitting in front of your defense and protecting it, just defending, could be decent for you. It's just that left column's a big concern. In terms of other positions, as a centre midfielder, I don't think so. What's the auto allocation going to tell us now? Nowhere near comfortable enough on the ball. Attacking awareness is horrendous. Balance is horrendous. No, I don't think this guy's going to be good as a centre midfielder. As a centre-back, do we have a sneaky centre-back? I have a feeling we could do, because I remember training a previous one as a centre-back, and yeah, usable. So jumping only 81 is not great. He is about 6'3" though. He's got aerial superiority. Or has he? Oh, he does. It's just eFootball playing out. We already saw in game he does have aerial superiority. Jumping height 272.5 is not particularly great though, so it's not terrible. He's not going to be terrible in the air, but he's not going to be brilliant. Could we beef him up there? We can't really spare the points from anywhere, so I mean, you could nick, maybe take 4 off dexterity, put him on goalie 1, maybe up to the mid 270s. Is that worth doing? Maybes. Probably is, to be honest. It would be nice if you could nick a few off defending, because those last 3 increases on defending were 4 points each. Taking 3 off there, you free up 12 points, but do you want a defensive awareness coming down to 86? He reminds me of Upamecano. A lot of Upamecano cards are like that. You could probably get away with that, to be fair. And then you could either get his speed up to the 80 mark, or you could just really make him much stronger in the air. Getting up to 90 jumping, 278 jumping height is good. You could do that. Like I say, it's just defensive awareness. If that defensive awareness really bothers you, for some it would, for some it wouldn't. But I think either way, I don't think anything that you do with this guy is going to make him a great centre back, but you could certainly make him a pretty good one, a very usable one. I mean, you see with that build, it's not just the aerial ability. Physical contact 97 is going to be a monster. So yeah, a lot of qualities with the guy as a centre back. So he could be worth using the position trainers and a few skill trainers to make him a centre back. He would need blocker, maybe acrobatic clearance, but that's about it really. You could make this guy a very usable centre back. Like I say, if you really focus on the aerial and physical ability, and you don't mind the awareness being a bit lower, or if you stick with that auto allocation as a centre back, and you don't mind the aerial ability, and you just get that defensive awareness up to 90, and you have all those other defensive attributes crazy high. He's definitely got qualities. 1 or 2 slight concerns whichever way you train him. But yeah, as a sneaky centre-back, if you've got the position trainers and the skill trainers to make him a centre-back, could be very usable. So as a centre-back, I would say he's more appealing than the defensive mid, to be honest. He could well be a very decent centre-back with that destroyer playing style active. As a defensive mid, we'll leave him on auto allocation as a defensive mid to finish up. Like I say, in terms of the defending, and a lot of the most important attributes could be really, really useful. Does need 1 or 2 skills, but he's got most of the skills he needs for that position. Just comes down to that left column. If you want your defensive mids to be more comfortable on the ball, he is not going to be for you, just like he's definitely not going to be for me. But if you don't mind his attributes being a bit on the low side, you're more concerned with the other ones, then he could be a very handy one. And like I say, he could be a pretty handy sneaky centre-back as well. And we have a goalie next. We've got David Raya from Arsenal. Got a face scan. As only standard form, can use him in the English League Challenge. Not the tallest, and his physical profile is not great. His arm coverage is about 165. That is bad. We'll see it on eFootball in a minute. Skill-wise, again, nothing's changed. So low punt and long throw. Let's jump over to the hub, and let's see how good this David Raya card is. So we'll get more trained up, all of it fully boosted. Stats are looking pretty spicy. But like I say, arm coverage 165.9. Yikes. This guy has a pretty poor physical profile. That's a big concern for me. So only 6 foot tall, short arms, not great. I mean, I don't know if the arms are actually short. It's the overall coverage. Arm length 6. Okay, so yeah, the arms are a bit short, but it's the overall arm coverage that matters, and it's not good at all. So that does hold him back. Stats looking good. Physical profile not so good. So on the whole, you've got a kind of decent goalie here, but not an amazing one. We've had a couple of player of the week versions of David Raya, both pretty similar overall, but stats kind of shuffled around, obviously. One of them's a booster. When it gets to booster on A form, it is a bit better than this one. I've had a recent highlight from a Showtime pack that was a bit better than this. But apart from that, I don't think any other ones are as good, really. I think this is a pretty good, solid version of David Raya, even if it's not the best one we've had. In terms of the boost they've given him, they put 4 on parrying. The rest of his core goalie attributes have been boosted just by 1.
There's a whole bunch of other attributes been boosted by 1 or 2. But yeah, that's about it really. And those goalie stats are all pretty even. It's looking pretty nice. If we shuffle these stats around a bit, can we get them all 90 plus? That was easy enough. Yeah, you can. But reach is a concern. Let's get that reach up. Which one's reached that one? Got to get up to 12. There you go. Yeah, I think that's worth doing. And then that last point, I'm going to stick it on passing. So yeah, you can boost the reach quite high. So is that going to be a good goalie card? I mean, it's not going to be a bad one. It's just that arm coverage holds him back. It does make a difference. So is it a good goalie card? Statistically, yeah, very nice. For the English League Challenge, could be a really nice option to have. But that lack of the arm coverage just holds him back from being as good as he looks at first glance. So that doesn't mean he's a bad goalkeeper by any means. It's definitely still a good goalie. You look at the stats, you can't really complain about a goalie being 90 plus in all 5 of those goalie attributes. But the fact his arms are a little bit short does hold him back a bit. So I wouldn't say this is a terrible goalie card. Of course, you can't say it's a terrible goalie with attributes like that, but he's just not quite as good as he looks because of the arm coverage. So certainly could be a handy one for the English League Challenge, but like I say, it's the physical profile just means he's just not quite as good as he looks. Where am I even going to start? I hate to rant in these videos, but we've got another Kimmich card right after we've lost the Bayern license. So you can't use this guy in league challenges. You can only really use him with the Germany squad, or of course in divisions or whatever, because obviously it's a very good card. Got a face guard, unwavering, blah, 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 blah. Honestly, I'm trying so hard not to rant, but of all the players I can choose to put in this pack, I just think this is an absolutely diabolical decision. We've had 3 versions of Kimmich in the past. We've had a bunch of free ones in the past. The most recent 3 ones we've had were one in that Captain Tsubasa campaign and one when Bayern won the league. And this card is really, really similar to both of those cards. Overall, there's no major difference. Yes, 1 or 2 stats shuffled around a bit, but you look at them at a glance, they're virtually the same. 2 free cards. At this point, and you look at the boost from his GP card at level 1, they've put 4 points on his speed. Everything else has been boosted by 1. I mean, everything about this card is just such a slap in the face. It's the most boring boost. It's the most lazy boost. It's the most lazy decision to put him in his pack. No league challenge to use him in. And honestly, it's such a slap in the face, especially to free-to-play players, because the time and effort you're putting into this game to earn your nominating contracts by not being licensed, and the fact that we've had the Tsubasa and the one when Bayern won the league, those 2 free versions recently. Almost everyone in the player base has got one of those freebies already, except for the ones who've released it because they don't want one, or for the players who started playing about a week ago. Who wants this card? Who wants this card? Tell me who in the player base has any need for this card. Who's going to get a reward for the 5-star nominating contracts that they've earned by picking this card up? No one needs him. I'm trying not to get angry. You know, if you were to take all of the 5-star players in the database who were born in 1995, because that's the theme, and you rank them in order of desirability for people who play eFootball, who've been playing eFootball for more than a week, this guy would be right at the bottom. He'd be either the lowest at the very bottom of the list, or be one of the lowest on the list. I just think this is just the most unbelievably poor, lazy decision. And it just feels like it's almost like they're laughing in the face of all the free-to-play players while they keep gradually but slowly but surely furthering that gap between the free-to-play players and the paid players in terms of how hard it is not just to compete, but to get any kind of enjoyment or reward from this game for the time and effort that you're putting into playing it. I'm sick of it. And honestly, I just can't bother to even review this card because it's pointless. No one needs it. No one cares. It's an absolutely dreadful choice. I'm not going to say anything more about it. So here are my recommendations for the 5 stars. I'm only going to recommend 2. I say it every time. A 5-star card's a 5-star card. They're all good cards. They could all be good for someone. I mean, I don't think Pochettino is particularly great from the Brazilian League Challenge, but he could be good still. From the Brazilian League Pack, but he still could be a decent one for some people. But yeah, I think out of all the 5 stars, even Pochettino's not that bad. They could all be useful for some people, but out of all of them, I personally think Giménez is a really good solid centre-back, and you can use him in a Spanish League Challenge as well. I think that's a really good solid centre-back to pick up for a 5-star if you don't have a good version of him already, and if you like the Destroyer playing style. I think Artur could be a really fun one. You know, there, like I said when I was reviewing, the one thing I'd say of them that was negative is that outside the fact that a lot of us don't get to do Brazilian League Challenge anymore, is that he's got a bunch of attributes I'd like to just be that teeny weeny bit higher, but they're close enough. You know, with the fact that he's got that low center of gravity, he's got a bit of pace, a bit of trickery, he's got a bit of end product. I think that could be a really fun little card to pick up for a 5-star contract, you know. So yeah, those are the two that I'd recommend. Obviously all the 5-star could be decent for a fair few people. It just depends on what you're looking for, really, and depends what league challenges you've still got to do. But for me personally, you've got a really good solid centre back there, and that could be a fun one as well, that Artur card. So those are my 2 recommendations out of the 5-stars this time around. And now it's time for your match pass mathematics. It's the same deal as usual, nothing's changed. There's the price it will cost you to buy one of the match passes. If it's your first time you've purchased either of them, you'll get a 50% discount. So that's how many coins you save if it's the first time you bought it. And this is the total number of coins you'll get back if you play all the matches to get all the rewards. So there's your mathematics to help you to make your decisions about spending your coins on them. And these are the 2 players we're going to be getting. So your cheap one is Maignan. The expensive one is Manuel Akanji. And let's have a look at these 2 guys and train them up, see how good they are. And we'll start with Maignan. So we've obviously had quite a lot of versions of Maignan. We've had some Player of the Week versions of him. The Player of the Week ones, to be honest, there have been a lot of Player of the Week and highlights that are around a similar level to this one overall, to be honest, really. This is one of the best versions we've had of Maignan, though. Even his Showtime card is not much better than this. It is better, but it's not a massive difference, really, between this and his Showtime card. So, yeah, if you've not got a good version of Maignan, this card could be great, but even if you've got a version already, this looks like a very good version of him. In terms of how they boosted from his GP card, his parrying and his reach have had the biggest boost. So looking pretty even across the board in his goalie attributes. Just his catching's kind of lagging slightly behind, but he's looking pretty strong. He's had a bunch of his non-goalkeeping stats boosted. They put +2 on a bunch of stats, including dribbling and curl, but nothing on his passing, which is a bit stingy. I'd rather they put the points on there, but his distribution's alright, to be fair, for a goalie. And they've actually reduced a few of his attributes. So now it gets really interesting. So we've lost 2 points off kicking power. We've lost 6 points off jumping. Did they mistakenly think this was a Player of the Week card? What are you doing? We've lost 6 points off jumping and we've lost 6 points off physical contact. Why? Like I keep saying, I give up at this point. But yeah, they've nerfed a few attributes in the highlight card for whatever reason. But yeah, you look at the most important attributes though. Pretty strong. Can we get a couple more over 90? Parrying's close, of course we can. Let's just take the points of jumping. They've nerfed it by 6 points already. We might as well take another 4 off it. Where's parrying? There it is. Bang. Nice. Can we do anything else? Get that catching up a bit. I think personally I'll just stick the last 2 on passing. I think I'll probably be done with it. I think that's looking pretty decent. The arm coverage is okay. It's not brilliant, but it's not too bad. His arm coverage is alright. I could do with low punt, but yeah, those goalie attributes, awareness, reflexes, reach, parrying's up to 90 as well. Catching isn't brilliant, but it's at 85, so it's not too bad. Yeah, I think I'll probably be inclined to do that. But could we get that catching up? I'm just thinking, you increase that catching by 2, you get the +2 from 86 to 88. I can't resist. What are we going to do? What if we just did that, and then did that? Yeah, you could do that. Is that better? Maybe. The awareness is kind of lagging slightly behind the reflexes and reach, but 90 is good. Catching, we've gone right up to 88 there. That could be a nice efficient build, to be honest. So I don't think it makes a huge difference. It's up to you which way you do it, but yeah, either way, I'm going to leave them on auto allocation. There's not a lot you need to say about a goalie. It's pretty easy to train them up. This is a really good version of Maignan. Like I say, the fact that he's pretty close to his Showtime card says a lot. It's one of the best versions we've had of Maignan. Not sure how long he's going to be at Milan, because there's been rumours about him joining Chelsea or going somewhere else even. So might be one of the last chances to get a Maignan card within a Milan affiliation. Don't know. It's all rumours obviously at this point, but either way, as a goalkeeper card, very good. And this card does of course have the club affiliation, so you can use them in the Italian League Challenge. So this is a very good Maignan card. It's a very good goalkeeper card. And yeah, for the cheaper of the 2 match passes, could well be a decent investment for your coins. I think it could be a very dependable goalkeeper option for you. So yeah, solid goalkeeper card. And the expensive match pass, premium, I keep calling it the expensive one. It's the premium match pass, and it is Manuel Akanji. So Manuel Akanji, we've had a few versions of this guy as well. Where are we? Where's my cursor? Let's get him all boosted up. As you can see, this is a pretty good looking centre back card. So Yeah, we've had quite a few versions of Akanji. We've had a couple of Player of the Week cards, but this is better than both of his Player of the Week cards. And it's up there with his best highlight cards, to be honest. If you compare him to his very best highlight cards, the boost he's had to his engagement gives it a bit of an edge because his engagement's been a bit low on a lot of his highlight cards. So this to me looks like it's just about the best version of Akanji. They have boosted his engagement. They've also put a few points on his balance. And he's had a good boost to his pace as well. But again, though, we've lost some points. They've taken 4 points off lofted pass. Why? We've lost 2 points from heading. Why? His heading is not great already. And we've lost 1 point off kicking power. Oh dear. Well, we can live with that, I suppose. But yeah, all things considered, though, this is a good-looking centre-back. Looks very, very, very decent. Again, you've got the English League change. He's got that Man City affiliation. Ignore that broken image on eFootball Hub. It's a Man City card. You can use him in the English League change. Unwavering form. If you're okay with that destroyer playing style as a centre-back, defensively, he's a beast. Pace is pretty good for a centre-back. Jumping and physical are not amazing, but they're good enough. I'd like to be a bit higher. What's happening skill-wise? Has he got more skills than that? Let's just jump back to the game and check. 1 moment. Where are we? Where is he? I'm on the wrong page. I have to go all the way back to the match pass page. And if I do that, we'll find that his skills are actually right on eFootball Hub after all. So it'll just be a waste of time, won't it? But let's have a look. Where are we? I just got a feeling his skills are different. Heading and aerial. And then, where's my cursor? So we've got heading and aerial, and then we got man mark, interception, blocker, acrobatic clearance, weighted and long. He's got long throw. Hooray! Could do with fighting spirit. That's probably the one skill he really needs, fighting spirit. Apart from that, though, maybe sliding tackle. But yeah, apart from that, pretty good section skills. Let's go back to eFootball Hub. So was it right? Was it right after all on eFootball Hub? 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, it was. So I just completely wasted your time. Awesome. But yeah, strong centre back. Like I say, just 1 or 2 skills he could maybe deal with. But he's got most of the important ones there. Would I change much? Right. So there we go. This is a classic example of an inefficient build. Do not trust the auto allocation. Sometimes the auto allocation is fine, but other times it's not, because those last 2 increases on defending were 4 points each, and that's just not efficient because you can just take 2 off defending. He's still a beast defensively. We've now got 8 points to play with. And what we're going to do with those 8 points is we're going to get him up to 90 for jumping and physical contact. And then the last 2, I think we're going to get his dexterity up 1, because then you get the 80 mark for acceleration, which is just nice, really, isn't it? Jumping height's not amazing, but it's okay. This is just a really good solid all-round centre-back, really. Like I say, you can sit with the auto allocation if you want, but I like to hit the 90 mark. It's not going to make a massive difference or anything. Just it's just nice to get it into the blue, isn't it? And the physical contact and jumping, they are important attributes on a centre-back, I always say it. So yeah, you can afford to take the points off the defending, and it gives you that little bit of a boost to his area and physical strength. You get to the 80 mark and acceleration. This looks like a very good, very usable centre-back for the English League change as well. If you're lacking centre-backs for the English League change, it could be a very handy one to pick up. It is the premium match pass. It will cost you quite a bit, but it's a good centre-back, this. He does have a few positions to make a position trainer. Could you make him a full-back? I'm not sure. If you like a really defensive fullback that's basically a centre-back playing out wide, then yeah, maybe. But he's absolutely horrific on the ball, so I wouldn't touch this guy as a fullback. Defensive mid, I think it's going to be the same, isn't it? Yeah, that's virtually the same build, isn't it? Obviously, defensively fantastic, good pace, lots of qualities there. But you go to that left column, you need to be able to control the ball and pass it. So I wouldn't touch this guy as a defensive mid or fullback, but as a centre-back, like I say, I would slightly tweak the build there. I think that's worth doing. But even if you leave more to allocation, however you build this guy, that's a very good solid centre back. Is it worth spending that many coins on for the premium match pass? I'm not sure. For me, no. We've had that many good centre backs lately, and we get them quite regularly. But if you're a Man City fan, if you're Swiss, you just really like this guy. If you just think you really could do with a good centre back for your English League challenge, if you think he's going to be worth the coins, he's definitely a very good centre back card, this guy. So for some people, it could be a pretty good acquisition. So there's all your new nominating contract and match pass players, and a couple of little rants in there for you as well, which I always seem to do with these videos on nominating contracts and match pass. But it's some things need to be said. You know, I don't have any problem with having paid packs and stuff like that. I've always said that I hate the whole 100 player pack and 150 player packs, especially the Showtime ones, the generic ones. I've said it before. That's why I don't review those packs, but I don't mind them making money, because at the end of the day, this game is free. We don't have to pay for the game, but if you're going to have a means of earning contracts to be able to sign players and stuff, and you know, you're going to have things like match pass, then you've got to make it worthwhile. And I just think some of the decisions they make are just absolutely pathetic. I just think they just don't care about the free-to-play players, and I feel like they're almost laughing in our faces sometimes with some of these decisions. I think putting Kimmich in as a 5-star is just absolutely pathetic. And the fact that they took away the Turkish League pack because there's no more Turkish League going on. There's so many things they could do, but they choose not to. They choose not to. They just give us even less choice. As it is, I still feel there should have been more choice, but they've given us even less just because they couldn't be bothered. So yeah, there's some things that have really annoyed me, like there often are. Maybe it's even more than normal, but there are some decent ones in there. I think that's a pretty tidy looking little Artur card. I might be picking that one up myself on 1 or 2 of my accounts, and a few other decent ones in there as well. So yeah, not the worst selection, just I feel like it would have been nice if we had a bit more choice, and obviously the Kimmich thing is very annoying, but it is what it is. There's a few decent things going on with the game at the moment as well, to be fair. So yeah, it's not the worst month in eFootball, but yeah, there are things there's some pretty valid complaints that not just myself has been, you know, it's not just me complaining about it, people have been complaining about them. So yeah, there you go. So that's how I feel anyway. Some decent cards in there, but 1 or 2 things to be maybe not too pleased about. But let me know your thoughts. I'll be really interested to know you guys' thoughts on it as well. I will be streaming over the next day or 2, and I will be reviewing the big time players as well, and I might possibly be spinning for Vanya, we'll see. But yeah, 1 or 2 streams of videos like I keep your eyes out for those. So let me know what you think about all these players, and I hope you found this video useful. As always, thank you very much for watching. I'm very grateful, and hopefully I'll see you soon for a stream or a video or on the Discord or whatever. So take it easy, look after yourselves, and I'll see you next time.